Friends, I am so grateful that Caleb invited one of my favorite preachers, Franklin Garcia. And I just loved it so much last time that he came and shared with us. And as you are aware, Calvary Chapel Lagos is kind of a sister-daughter church of ours. And Franklin is a good friend. And so I'm excited for what he's going to bring this morning.
Well, thank you. Good morning, and we want to welcome you once again, Calvary Fullerton, and it's a privilege for me to be here this morning. And the title of my message today is "There Will Be a Day." There will be a day. Have you ever felt like singing? Have you ever felt like singing a song? Usually I feel like singing a song when I'm excited, when I'm happy, when everything is going okay in my life, when I have peace. Maybe I'm working on my car or in the backyard and I'm singing a song. How great is our God. Sing with me, how great. See, usually we sing when we are excited. But it's kind of hard to sing a song when life is difficult. We have problems, sickness, when we feel like we are hopeless. It's kind of hard to sing a song. I was speaking with a gentleman, a friend of mine, a couple of days ago, and he was a Marine all his life, and now he's at a nursing home. He got kids, grandkids, and he was very discouraged. Very discouraged because he couldn't see his family, he couldn't see his kids because of the regulations, the restrictions that are going on right now because of the pandemic. He said, it's kind of hard to see my grandkids on videos and chats, and I want to hug them, I want to kiss them. And Thanksgiving are coming up right now. It's only a couple of weeks away. He said, I feel so sad, so discouraged. He said, I was hoping that everything would turn out fine in these last elections, but it seems like things will get worse. I was putting all my hope. And the next few years, I thought things were going to change. He said, I feel like hopeless. I feel like discouraged. Everything around me seems hopeless. A friend of mine that came to this country 20 years ago, he was a nurse in his country. He came here 20 years ago. He don't have no papers to work legally in the country. It's kind of hard for him. He said, you know what, every year, every time we have elections, the candidates, they always offering that they will give us papers, that they will legalize everybody that's illegal in this country. And I get excited every 4 years, but it seems like as the time goes by, I get discouraged again because their fulfillments don't come true. My kid's grandmother, she lost her mom. Her mom was walking. She was 88 years old. She was walking. All of a sudden, she fell. She broke her hips. She was in the hospital. Then they took her to a nursing home to get recovery. But then all of a sudden, they get a phone call from the nursing home that she's sick. Now she has the COVID-19. Then she's being rushed to the hospital. 2 days later, she's gone with the Lord. And my kid's grandmother, with tears in her eyes, say, I can't believe this. Not too long ago, Mom was with us. I was talking to my mom, but you know what is harder? She said that you cannot be with your mom when everything is going on at the hospital. When she's sick, you cannot be by her side, especially the funeral. We cannot even have a decent funeral for the backbone of our family. This is painful. And there is a lot of people out there like that right now. They feel hopeless, discouraged. The future seems grim to them. They don't know what's going to happen in the future. We see chaos going on in our country. People not getting along. People having different point of views. The situation of our country doesn't seem good. It seems hopeless. And sometimes we get caught up in the mix of these situations and we get discouraged. But we forget that God has the power to move forward with His plans, even when things might seem hopeless. God has the power to move forward and fulfill His promises, even when the situation, this country, of our own situation seems hopeless. And one of the promises that God gave to His people and us is that one day He was going to establish a government. But not any kind of government. He will establish a perfect government. A government that will fulfill our expectations. And when God established this perfect government, then we will have a song to sing. Today we are going to see that God has promised that He will establish His government, His kingdom. Amidst when the situation of the nation seems hopeless, He will move forward to establish His kingdom. We also are going to see what kind of leader this government will have. What kind of qualities this leader will have. What kind of leader he will be in his leadership of this government. We are also going to see what are going to be the results of his leadership. What are going to experience as a result of the leadership of this leader for the new government that God will establish one day. For this, I will ask you to open your Bibles, your phones, your tablets in the book of Isaiah. The book of Isaiah. In the Old Testament, the book of Isaiah. Chapter 11. Book of Isaiah. Chapter 11. Book of Isaiah. Chapter 11. See, from chapter 1 to chapter 12 is one section in the book of Isaiah. The nation is being confronted with their sin. God is telling the people through the prophet Isaiah that He will punish the nation for their sin. But then after He punished the nation for their sin, He will rise a government for His people. A government that will fulfill their desires. God will use two nations, Assyria and Babylon, to bring punishment, discipline for their sins. And after this take place, the situation of the country, of the nation of Israel will seem hopeless. There's no way that you can rise a kingdom from this nation. There is no way you can rise a kingdom from this land. In the midst of the hopelessness situation, he will rise a kingdom. He will establish a perfect government. We need to keep in mind, it doesn't matter how the situation or circumstances might look, God has the power to move forward with his plans. The message of hope for the nation of Israel is the same message for us today. God is letting his people know that difficult times are ahead. There are coming times when everything will seem hopeless, but in the midst of that hopeless situation, I will establish a perfect kingdom. The prophet Isaiah will use a metaphor of a tree, big trees, and he will picture the nation of Israel as a stump, as a tree that has been cut down. Not too long ago, we saw fires going on in Northern California. You can see the trees that burnt out. The firefighters, they're coming and they're chopping the trees down. You don't see nothing but stumps. They're dead, burning to the ground. The stumps that seems that don't got life anymore. You can see the people, you're sitting on the ground, looking at their homes without hope. The situation, it seems hopeless for these people. The situation for the nation of Israel will seem hopeless. But in the midst of that, God will establish a kingdom for his people. So can you read with me verses 1 of chapter 11 of the book of Isaiah? Verse 1, reading from the NIV, it says, a shoot or a sprout will come up from the stump of Jesse. From his roots, a branch will bear fruit. See, the Messianic kingdom will come from the descendant of Jesse, the father of David. And from the lineage of David, it will come the Messiah. And through him, God will establish a government, a perfect kingdom. See, when the writers of the Old Testament wrote, they wrote on previous revelation. They knew who Jesse was. They knew that Jesse was the father of David. They also knew about the promises of God for Israel through Abraham. They also knew the promises of God for Israel through David. He was going to establish a king through his lineage, a government. So the prophet Isaiah, writing on previous revelation, is telling the people of Israel the situation of the nation in the future, it will look hopeless. It's going to be a disaster in the nation. It's going to look like a stump with no life, no hope. But from the stump, it's going to be a sprout that will rise. Speaking of the Messiah, God will rise his government, even in a hopeless situation. That was a message of hope for the nation of Israel. And that's a message of hope for us today. That God will rise a perfect government. It doesn't matter how bad the circumstances or the situation look around us. God has the power to move forward with his promises. Now, what kind of leader this government will have? What kind of qualities this leader will have for this perfect government? Well, God will not only rise a government for his people, a kingdom, but he also will rise a perfect leader. A leader that will have all the characteristics of God himself. The Lord will rise a leader that will have all the qualities of a perfect king. A perfect king that will lead his people and this perfect government that God will establish. God will rise a king, a leader, a perfect leader. A leader that is not going to need anybody to give him an advice. He will rise a leader that will lead with the power of the Spirit. He will lead with wisdom and knowledge and might. He will not lead based on what he heard. He's not going to lead based on what he looks. He will have the power to lead with righteousness and justice. He will treat the poor with justice. He will be known for his righteousness and faithfulness. He will be the blueprint for all the kings and governments through the history of the world. God will rise a perfect leader for his people. Can you read with me, please, in verses 2 to verse 5 of chapter 11 of the book of Isaiah? It said, the Spirit of the Lord will rest on him, the Spirit of wisdom and understanding, the Spirit of counsel and of might, the Spirit of the knowledge and fear of the Lord. And he will delight in the fear of the Lord. He will not judge by what he sees with his eyes, or decide what he hears with his ears. But with righteousness he will judge the needy. With justice he will give decisions for the poor of the earth. And he will strike the earth with the rod of his mouth. With the breath of his lips he will slay the wicked. Righteousness will be his belt, and faithfulness the sash around his way. One thing that we need to understand from the Jewish perspective on those days, they were waiting a Messiah, a descendant from David, to rule in the government or kingdom that God was going to establish. They were waiting for someone to lead them. But we can look back and see that this leader, the Messiah, is Jesus Christ himself. The Jewish people didn't know about incarnation. They didn't know how the salvation was going to take their fulfillment. We can look back and see that this is Jesus Christ himself, God in the flesh. A perfect leader. He will be able to do his will. He will establish his will because he will have the power of the Spirit. He will need no counselors, advisors. He will not be surprised by viruses or sickness or wars. God will rise a perfect leader for us. He will lead with justice. He will not lead us by appearances. He will guide himself of what he sees or what he hears. There will be no more favoritism. He will make justice for the poor. You know, I applied for a job a couple months ago. I look at my resume. I say, you know what? I think I can get this job. I mean, I'm fit. I mean, I got the elements for this job. But then the requirements required for the person for the job to be at least 6 feet tall. I'm only 5'6". So 6 feet tall got to be by this height. I'm like, man, maybe I can put some you know how they got these kind of shoes that make you look taller, but I still won't make it. Then on top of that, they want somebody to be a well-looking person. I said, man. Then they wanted somebody to be well-spoken, a nice communicator. I said, oh man, I can barely speak English myself. I said, man, I'm sure for this. See, that's the world that we're living in right now. People go by the looks, by the way you look, by the way you speak. But when this king, when this leader start leading his people, he will not lead by the looks or what he hear or he say. He will rule his people with justice. He will give every person accordingly. Nothing less, nothing more. He will show the poor the same just as the rich. His authority will be his word, the spoken word. Nobody will be able to break his word. He will be able to establish his will when he leads this government. He will be known, the prophet Isaiah say, for his righteousness and faithfulness. That's when he used the motif or the theme of clothing. He will be known for being just and faithful. See, when I spoke to my friend at the nursing home, he was discouraged because of the situation that was going around in this country. But he also admitted himself that he put his hope and his candidate in the leader. He admitted that. He thought that he was going to be able to change the circumstances. My friend that didn't have papers, he also recognized that sometimes he put his hope in the people that's leading this country and not putting his hope in God himself. We need to remind ourselves that the early leaders that we have today in our country, in the world, they are imperfect. Just like us. They're struggling with sin. They make mistakes. But when God will establish his kingdom, his government, he will also rise a perfect king, a perfect leader, our Lord Jesus Christ himself. And he will not make mistakes. He will not be taken by a surprise. And he will make just for me and you. And what is going to be the result of his leadership? What is going to happen when God establishes his government and these perfect leaders start leading this government? We are going to experience a perfect peace. We are going to have an eternal peace. No more tears. No more sorrow. No more discouragement. We are going to be able to enjoy an everlasting peace. You know why? Because everyone will have the knowledge of the Lord. Everyone will know the Lord Himself. The world will be filled with the knowledge of the Lord. There were no more enmity between the animal kingdom and the humans. The destructive forces will come to an end. Everything will go back to the beginning of the creation, when God walked with man and was peace in the garden. There will be peace in the kingdom and the government. See, it seems like the prophet Isaiah is taking us to the beginning. It seems like this leader, when God established His perfect kingdom, the leader, Jesus Christ Himself, would take everything to the beginning where it was a perfect peace. Where there was no fear of animals, serpents. Animals will not eat with each other no more. Lions will eat grass. Oh, I feel so sad for those of you who like steaks. It seems like, according to the scriptures, according to the graph, to the writings, that we are going to be vegetarians in the future. I hope not. I like to eat myself, especially T-bone steak. Anyways. But it seems like the prophet Isaiah is telling us that we're going back to the beginning, when there will be a perfect peace between man, animals, and no one will be able to disrupt the peace that God will establish on His kingdom. Look with me, verses 6 to 9. The wolf will live with the lamb. The leopard will lie down with the goat. The calf and the lion and the yearling together, and the little child will lead them. The cow will feed with the bear. Their young will lie down together, and the lion will eat a straw like the ox. The infant will play near the cobra's den. The young child will put his hand into the viper's nets. They will neither harm nor destroy on all my holy mountain, for the earth will be filled with the knowledge of the Lord as the waters cover the sea. See, verse 9 gives us the summary, the explanation, that there will be perfect peace. No one will disrupt the peace that the Lord Himself will bring when He establishes His government. Everlasting peace. You know what? When there is peace, it's joy. And when there is joy, you feel like singing a song. How great is our God. Sing with me, how great. Even though sometimes my wife says, hey, whoever sings the song, let the person sing, please. But you know, sometimes you feel excited, you happy, and you sing. You're singing a song because you know what? You got money in your pocket, you have no problem. You're feeling good, you're feeling joy. But on this day, we will have eternal peace. And that peace will produce joy on our life. And on that day, we will have a song to sing. This is what the prophet is telling the nation. This is what's coming. Difficult times are coming, Israel. Difficult times are coming for you as a nation. God will punish you for your sins. But even in the midst of this difficult situation, I will rise a kingdom, a perfect kingdom with a perfect king, a perfect leader that will bring perfect peace. And when these things take place, you will be able to sing a song. Notice with me real quick, chapter 12, verses 4 to 6. That's the end of the section of the book, or the first section of the book of Isaiah. In that day, you will say, give praise to the Lord, proclaim his name, make known among the nations what he has done, and proclaim that his name is exalted. Sing to the Lord for what he has done, glorious things. Let this be known to all the world. Shout aloud and sing for joy, people of Zion, for great is the Holy One of Israel among you. You might going through a difficult circumstances right now. You might feel discouraged. Maybe think everything that's going on around you have you discouraged, hopeless. But you need to remember that God has the power to move forward with his promises. And his promises are that he will rise a perfect government. No more elections. No more elections. He will rise a perfect government with a perfect leader that will bring us an everlasting peace. And then, and only then, me and you will have a song to sing. And that day is coming, folks, that me and you will sing to the Lord because he will bring us joy to our lives when we see the fulfillment of his promises. If you are discouraged right now, send us a message. Say, I need a prayer. If you feel overwhelmed with everything that's going on around you, we want to pray for you. If you feel in fear or despair, hey, we're here for you. Send us a message. Call us. We want to get in touch with you. Keep in mind that God has the power to fulfill his promises. And he's the only one that can bring you the peace that you are seeking for. God is the only one that can give you a song for you to sing.